BRIARWOOD COURT. At 2:17 in the morning, I watched my son stand over his father with blood on his hands. Marcus was on the living room floor beside the coffee table. The television was still on, throwing blue light across his face. One of his slippers had come off. I remember that stupid slipper more clearly than I remember the blood. Noah was breathing hard. He looked at me as if he had just woken from a nightmare and expected me to tell him it wasn't real. Marcus moved. His fingers dragged across the rug. "Evelyn," he whispered. I stood halfway down the stairs. "Call 911. Noah turned toward me. "Mom." Marcus coughed. "Call them." I looked at my husband, then at my son, and I went back upstairs. Marcus was still alive when I left the room. That was the first lie I told Detective Daniel Reeves. It was not the last. By 7 the next morning, the living room was clean, the rug was gone. I stood in the doorway wearing my robe while Noah pushed the coffee table back into place. "Where is he?" Noah did not look at me. "Gone." "That isn't what I asked." "I know." He carried a black trash bag toward the garage. "Noah?" He stopped. For a moment I saw the boy he had been at 8 years old, hiding beneath my bed while his father broke plates downstairs. Then his face hardened again. "Dad left." "Where?" "I don't know." "Is he alive?" His eyes met mine. I knew my son well enough to see the answer before he spoke. "Mom, don't." I touched the banister. My wrist hurt. Marcus had twisted it the night before. There were 4 purple marks where his fingers had been. Noah saw them. His jaw tightened. "Go upstairs," he said. I almost laughed. His father used to say the same thing. Instead I asked, "What did you do with the rug?" "It couldn't be cleaned." That was when someone knocked on the front door. 3 firm knocks. Noah went pale. I opened it. Detective Daniel Reeves stood on the porch with a younger uniformed officer. Reeves was perhaps 50, with tired eyes and a gray coat that still carried drops of morning rain. "Mrs. Hart?" "Yes. I'm Detective Reeves. This is Officer Cole. Is Marcus Hart home?" I looked over my shoulder. Noah stood at the end of the hall. "No." "When did you last see him?" "Last night." "What time?" "I don't know." "Was he alive when you saw him?" Noah made a tiny sound behind me. I looked directly at Reeves. Yes. Every word was true. Reeves watched my face. "His employer says he didn't come in this morning. His phone is off." "That isn't unusual." "Does he often disappear without telling you?" "Yes." That was not true. Marcus told me everything I needed to know and nothing I wanted to know. When to cook, when to sleep, which neighbor I could speak to, how much money I was allowed to have, when I could leave the house. For 22 years, Marcus Hart had treated information like food. He decided when I deserved it. Reeves glanced toward Noah. "Your son?" "Noah." "How old?" 23. Noah stepped forward. "Do you have a warrant?" Officer Cole looked surprised. Reeves didn't. "No. We're checking on a missing person." "He isn't missing." "Where is he?" Noah hesitated. "He left." "When?" "Early." "Did you see him?" "Yes." I looked at my son. That was his first mistake. Reeves saw me look. "What did he drive?" Noah's mouth opened. Marcus's truck was sitting in our garage. Before Noah could answer, a voice came from the sidewalk. "Morning, Evelyn." Walter Briggs stood beside his mailbox holding a newspaper. Walter was 68, broad-shouldered even in old age, with white hair and a left knee that made him limp in cold weather. He looked at Reeves. "Something wrong? Marcus Hart is missing." Walter frowned as if hearing the news for the first time. "Missing? I saw him leave around 5. Reeves turned. "You did?" "Gray sedan picked him up." Marcus did not know anyone with a gray sedan. A screen door opened across the street. Margaret Briggs stepped onto her porch. "I saw it too." Then Dr. Samuel Keene, 3 houses down, called from his driveway. "About 5:15. I felt something cold settle inside me. They were lying. All of them. And none of us had spoken that morning. Reeves looked slowly around BRIARWOOD COURT. 12 modest houses curved around a dead-end street lined with bare maple trees. To anyone else, it was ordinary. To me, it had always been the safest place in the world. That morning was the first time I wondered why. Marcus and I had been married 22 years. People like simple stories about women like me. They want to know why I stayed. Fear is not a satisfying answer. Money is better. Children are better. Shame is better. But the truth is that a cage becomes difficult to see when someone builds it one bar at a time. Marcus did not hit me on our first date. He brought flowers. He remembered my coffee order. He listened when I talked about Claire. My sister had been missing for 2 years by then, and everyone else had stopped wanting to hear her name. Marcus never did. He would ask what she liked, what music she listened to, whether we looked alike. I thought that meant he cared about me. The first time he slapped me, we had been married 8 months. He cried afterward. The first time he locked me inside the house, Noah was 3. He said I was unstable. By the time Noah was 10, Marcus controlled our bank account, my identification, the car keys, and every person I spoke to. By the time Noah was 15, I had learned how to hide bruises. By the time he was 20, I had learned something worse. I had learned how to make Marcus think every decision was his. That is the part people don't understand about surviving a man who needs control. Sometimes obedience is not surrender. Sometimes it is camouflage. I knew which lies made him calm, which apologies made him careless, which fears made him feel powerful. I had become very good at being the woman he expected. Maybe too good, because after 20 years, I no longer knew how much of her was an act. Reeves returned that afternoon. This time he had a warrant to look through Marcus's office and truck. The truck told them nothing. His wallet was gone, his phone was gone, a suitcase was missing. Noah had done a better job than I expected. Marcus's study was another matter. I had not been allowed inside for years. Reeves unlocked it. I stood behind him. The room smelled like cedar and Marcus's aftershave. Bookshelves, desk, computer, a locked cabinet. And on the wall behind the desk, covered with a cloth, a portrait. Reeves pulled the cloth aside. My knees nearly gave out. The woman in the painting was Claire, my sister, 20 years old, long dark hair, green sweater. The small scar above her right eyebrow from falling off a bicycle when she was 9. Reeves caught my arm. You know her? I could not speak. Noah came in behind us. Mom? Claire. He had heard the name but never seen more than a few old photographs. Reeves looked between us. Who is Claire? My sister. Where is she? I stared at the portrait. She disappeared 24 years ago. The painting was signed in the lower corner. M. Hart, Marcus. And beneath the signature was a date. 3 years after Claire vanished. That changed everything. Until then, Reeves had been looking for a missing husband. Now he wanted to know why Marcus had painted a missing woman years after her disappearance. I wanted to know too. Marcus had told me he first saw Claire in photographs after we married. The date proved he lied. Reeves took the portrait as evidence. I waited until he left. Then I went into Marcus's study again. The wall behind the portrait had 4 small screw holes. I pressed the panel. Nothing. Noah came in. What are you doing? Help me. We removed the wooden backing. Behind it was a steel safe. No keypad, no keyhole, only a small black glass square. Fingerprint reader. Noah stared. Did you know? No. What do you think is inside? Something he didn't want me to see. That could be anything. No. I touched the safe. Marcus wanted me to see the portrait. Noah frowned. Why? He covered it, but he never destroyed it. I thought about my husband keeping Claire's face 6 feet from his desk for decades. Whatever is inside is connected to her. We tried objects Marcus had touched. A whiskey glass, his razor, an old metal pen. Nothing. The scanner flashed red. Then the safe beeped. 3 failed attempts. Lockout 24 hours. Noah swore. I sat on the floor. He crouched beside me. Mom. What? What if Dad killed her? I looked at Claire's empty place on the wall. I've been asking myself that since I saw the painting. 2 days later, they found the body. A utility worker spotted it near an abandoned limestone quarry 12 miles away. The police did not tell us much. Male, approximately Marcus's age. Severe damage to the face and hands. No wallet, no immediate identification. Reeves came personally. Noah gripped the kitchen counter until his knuckles whitened. I poured coffee. Reeves noticed. Mrs. Hart. Yes. You don't seem surprised. I've been married to Marcus for 22 years. That doesn't answer me. I handed him a cup. You asked if I was surprised. I said no. Do you want to know if it's him? I thought about Marcus on the floor. Call 911. Most wives would. Most wives probably love their husbands. Reeves did not drink the coffee. Noah stared at me. After the detective left, he whispered, Why would you say that? Because it was true. You're making him suspicious. He was already suspicious. Mom, you don't understand what happens if they... I understand exactly what happens. He looked away. That was when I realized Noah was afraid for me, not himself. That frightened me more than the police. Claire Bennett disappeared in October of 1999. I was 20. She was 26. Our grandfather, Arthur Bennett, had died the previous winter. Everyone in the county knew his name. He had run Briarwood Youth Home for nearly 30 years. Officially, it was a residential facility for troubled teenagers. Unofficially, it was where courts sent children no one wanted to deal with. Claire volunteered there while she was in college. After grandfather died, she began going through his records. She changed, stopped sleeping, locked her bedroom, made photocopies at night. Once I asked what she was doing, she said, "Finding out what kind of family we are." I thought she meant money. Grandfather had hidden money before. I was wrong. 2 weeks before Claire vanished, she told me she had found evidence of abuse at Briarwood. Not one employee, not one child, years. Reports buried. Medical complaints altered, parents ignored, police calls withdrawn, and Arthur Bennett's signature appeared on everything. He knew, Claire told me. I remember defending him. He loved us. Claire stared at me. That's what scares me. The last night I saw her, she packed a duffel bag. Where are you going? To meet someone. Who? People who deserve the truth. Police? She hesitated. Eventually. Then she hugged me. Claire rarely hugged me. If anything happens, don't trust the first story they tell you. The next morning she was gone. The first story they told me was that Claire ran away. I believed it for almost 25 years. Reeves did not. He reopened her missing person file. That was when Briarwood Court began to crack. Walter Briggs had moved onto our street in 2000, Margaret with him. Samuel Keene arrived 6 months later. The Garcias, the Millers, the Doyles. 9 of the original 12 households had moved there within 18 months. Reeves discovered something else. Every family had a connection to Briarwood Youth Home. Walter's younger brother had died there in 1987. Margaret's niece had been admitted in 1991 and later killed herself. Samuel Keene had treated 2 former residents who reported abuse. The Garcias had a son who disappeared after leaving the facility. The connections continued. I confronted Walter in his garage. He was repairing an old lawnmower. Why didn't you tell me? He kept working. Tell you what? Briarwood. The wrench stopped. Which part? My grandfather. Walter slowly stood. You should go home. No. Evelyn. Did you know Claire? Silence. Walter. Yes. My chest tightened. How? She found us. Who is us? He looked toward the street. Margaret was watching from their kitchen window. All the families Arthur Bennett hurt. My grandfather didn't. I stopped. Even after everything, instinct tried to defend him. Walter noticed. He was good to you? Yes. Men like Arthur usually are good to someone. I looked away. Did you kill people? Walter did not answer. That was an answer. How many? Go home. Did you kill Claire? His face changed. No. Did Marcus? I don't know. You're lying. I wish I was. He sat heavily on a stool. We weren't killers when we found each other, Evelyn. What does that mean? It means we were parents, brothers, sisters, people who waited for courts to do something. And nothing happened. Walter's eyes became distant. So some of us decided nothing wasn't good enough. The Briarwood murders had never been called that by police. Not officially. There were simply disappearances. A former supervisor vanished in 1999, a security officer in 2000, a county administrator in 2001, a retired counselor in 2002, people connected to the old youth home, people who had escaped prosecution. The cases were never linked, because the people responsible lived ordinary lives. They mowed lawns, went to church, baked casseroles, watched one another's children, and eventually bought houses on the same quiet street. Why here? I asked. Walter looked around the garage. Because secrets are easier to keep when the people holding them are close. I felt sick. You all killed them. Not all of us. You helped. Yes. And then you protected me. Walter looked at me. For years. Why? He laughed bitterly. You think that was easy? What? Seeing Arthur Bennett's granddaughter move onto this street. I stared. You hated me. At first. Then why let me stay? We didn't own the street. Why help me? Walter's eyes filled. Because we spent years telling ourselves blood made people guilty. He looked toward my house. Then Marcus started hurting you. My throat tightened, and we realized what hypocrites we'd become. I whispered, You protected me because you felt sorry for me? No. Walter shook his head. We protected you because you were one of his victims too. The first time Margaret Briggs saw Marcus hit me was 11 years earlier. I had forgotten the day until she reminded me. It was July. Noah was 12. We were having a neighborhood cookout. Marcus drank too much bourbon and accused me of flirting with Samuel because I laughed at something he said. He waited until we were inside, then he shoved me into the pantry door. Margaret had come in looking for ice. She saw everything. Marcus smiled. He told her I had slipped. Margaret looked at me. I said, I slipped. That evening, someone punctured all 4 tires on Marcus's truck. He blamed teenagers. I knew better now. You should have called police, I told Margaret. We were sitting in her kitchen. She gave me a sad look. So should you. I had no answer. We thought if we scared him enough, he'd stop. He didn't. No. You knew what he was doing all these years? Some of it. And you left me there? Margaret flinched. The cruelty of the sentence surprised even me. I asked you to come stay with us twice. And when I said no, you told me Marcus would take Noah. He would have tried. I know. You people could kill 4 men but couldn't get 1 woman out of a house? Margaret's eyes hardened. Do you want the truth? Yes. We were afraid of Marcus. That stopped me. Why? Because by then he knew everything. Reeves found the first proof before I did. Marcus had been blackmailing Briarwood residents for 17 years. Bank records showed payments routed through shell companies, cash deposits, property transfers, favors. Marcus had discovered the vigilante network sometime after we married. He kept copies of old police reports, photographs, statements, and evidence. He made himself untouchable. Walter paid him, Samuel paid him. Others did too. When someone threatened to stop, Marcus reminded them what prison looked like. When I confronted Samuel, he told me something worse. Marcus didn't just keep evidence. What else? A release system. What does that mean? Samuel looked exhausted. A dead man switch. If Marcus failed to log into a private server for 7 consecutive days, files would begin sending automatically. 1 file per day. Police, reporters, victims' families, anyone Marcus had selected. How many files? 12. How many days has he been gone? Samuel looked at me. 6. My blood went cold. The next day, the first file would send. Killing Marcus had not freed anyone. It had started a clock. That night, Noah finally told me what he had done after I went upstairs. Or what he wanted me to believe he had done. He sat at the kitchen table. I put him in the truck. Marcus's truck is here. Walter helped me move him to another car. Of course Walter had. Where? Noah rubbed his face. Query. Was he dead? He did not answer. Noah. Yes. I watched my son lie to protect me. I wanted to stop him. Instead, I asked, What did you do to his hands? His eyes snapped up. What? The body they found couldn't be identified from fingerprints. I didn't do that. His face? No. Then someone else touched the body after you left it. Noah went still. The quarry corpse might be Marcus, but someone had altered it. Why? To delay identification? To hide something? Or because it was not Marcus at all? I thought of the safe. 24 hours had passed. We tried again. This time, I brought everything from Marcus's bathroom. Nothing. Red, red, red. Noah kicked the desk. Maybe it's broken. No. How do you know? Because Marcus didn't trust broken things. I looked at the empty wall where Claire's portrait had hung. Then I remembered the scar above her eyebrow, the date beneath Marcus's signature. The safe was not built for Marcus. It was built for someone else. The first dead man file arrived at 8 the next morning. Not to police, to Walter Briggs. Marcus had designed the system to torture them before exposing them. Walter received photographs from the disappearance of a former Briarwood supervisor. He came to our house shaking. He knew. Of course he knew. No, he knew where we buried him. Noah closed the curtains. Walter looked at me. We need the phone. What phone? The master device. Marcus kept it in the safe. How do you know? He showed me once. Why? To remind me he owned us. What happens if we destroy it? Maybe the schedule stops. Maybe? Walter looked ashamed. We never understood the system. I laughed. You let my husband blackmail you for 17 years and none of you learned how his insurance worked? We were afraid. I almost told him fear was not an excuse. Then I remembered my own life. I said nothing. That afternoon, Reeves asked me to come to the station. It was the first time in months I had gone anywhere without Marcus deciding the route. Officer Cole drove me. I sat in the back of the police car and watched stores pass. A pharmacy, a diner, a laundromat. People walked in and out of buildings without asking permission. It embarrassed me that this felt remarkable. Reeves interviewed me in a small room. No handcuffs, no attorney, not yet. He placed photographs of the quarry on the table face down. Marcus had enemies. Yes. How many? I don't know. Did you know he was receiving large payments from your neighbors? No. Did you know your neighbors were connected to unsolved disappearances? No. Did you know your husband knew Claire before he met you? No. 3 truths. Reeves leaned back. What did you know, Mrs. Hart? I thought about it. That he enjoyed knowing things other people didn't. Such as? Passwords, affairs, debts, secrets. Did he blackmail you? I smiled. You have to possess something before someone can threaten to take it away. What did he threaten you with? Noah. Reeves' expression softened. I hated him for that. Don't pity me. I don't. Yes, you do. I think you were abused. That isn't the same as being innocent. He went still. I realized I had said too much. Innocent of what? I looked at the mirror. Being a good mother. Reeves did not press. That made him more dangerous. The quarry body was confirmed as Marcus through dental records. But the medical examiner found something inconsistent. Marcus had suffered injuries in our living room. That much police could infer from blood traces recovered beneath the floorboards during a second search. But the fatal injury occurred later. Reeves returned to the house after dark. Noah stayed upstairs. Reeves sat across from me. Noah attacked his father. I said nothing. Your neighbors cleaned the scene. Nothing. Someone moved Marcus. Nothing. And someone killed him after he was moved. My heartbeat remained steady. I had practiced steady breathing for 20 years. Reeves leaned forward. I'm trying to keep your son from spending the rest of his life in prison. I looked at him. Are you? Yes. Why? Because I don't think Noah killed Marcus. Noah was upstairs. I hoped he could not hear. Reeves continued. I think Noah hurt him. I think someone else finished it. Who? That is what I'm asking you. I smiled faintly. You're the detective. He studied me for a long time. Then he said, Claire Bennett. My smile vanished. We found a print associated with the frame behind the portrait. What print? Partial. Old. He placed a photocopy on the table. Claire's fingerprint was in the original missing person file because she worked at a county facility. It appears to match. I stared. That's impossible. Maybe. The portrait has been in Marcus's office for years. Then why was the print preserved behind it? I understood. The safe. Claire. Claire's fingerprints were still on file. Reeves would not give me access. But Marcus had kept Claire's belongings. I knew that now. If he kept the portrait, maybe he kept more. I searched the attic. Boxes Marcus had forbidden me to touch. Tax records, old clothes, photographs, then a small wooden case. Inside was Claire's jewelry, her college ID, a cassette tape, and a glass compact. I remembered it instantly. Claire used to carry it everywhere. I opened it by the edges. A faint fingerprint remained on the inner metal surface. It was absurd. 24 years old, probably useless. But Marcus had preserved the box carefully. I pressed the compact against the safe reader. Read. Noah sighed. Then I noticed the college ID. Claire's right thumb was covered in ink in the photograph. She had worked with children and used fingerprint crafts constantly. Inside the case was a laminated volunteer card. A clear thumbprint in old blue paint marked the back. Marcus had kept it. I pressed the laminated print against the scanner. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then, green. The safe opened. Noah whispered, "Oh my God." Inside was a black phone. 12 labeled drives. A stack of documents. Claire's necklace, and another photograph. Claire stood beside Marcus, both young, both smiling. The date was 6 months after she supposedly ran away. My husband had known my missing sister before he met me. Noah touched my shoulder. Mom. I picked up the phone. It turned on without a passcode. A timer filled the screen. 6:14:33. Below it, cancel all release. A password field. We did not know the password. Of course, Marcus had given us the key without giving us the answer. That was exactly the kind of man he was. Then I found the recordings. Claire's voice came through the old cassette player, thin and distorted. October 17th, 1999. I stopped breathing. If anyone finds this, my grandfather knew. Noah sat beside me. Arthur Bennett approved settlements, altered reports, and paid families to withdraw complaints. I have copies. Paper rustled. But that's only half of it. Claire took a breath. Some parents have started retaliating. They call themselves nothing. There is no organization. That's what makes them dangerous. Walter, Margaret, Samuel. They think killing the people responsible is justice. I understand why. That scares me too. Another voice entered the recording. Young, male, Marcus. You can't expose them. Claire answered, I have to expose everyone. They'll kill you. Then help me. I am helping you. No, Marcus, you're collecting leverage. Silence. Then Claire, you're enjoying this. The tape clicked. A second recording. Marcus again. You don't understand what this information is worth. Claire, children were hurt, and the people who did it are being murdered. Then we tell police. Your grandfather owned half the county. He's dead. His friends aren't. Claire's voice hardened. I trusted you. Marcus laughed softly. That was your mistake. I stopped the tape. My hands were shaking. Noah said, he was blackmailing her too. Yes. Did he kill her? I don't know. A third recording answered part of it. Claire sounded terrified. Evelyn, if this reaches you, don't believe I ran. My chest collapsed inward. I made copies. Marcus knows. Walter's group knows. Both sides think I can destroy them. She started crying. I don't know who I'm more afraid of. Then, if I disappear, Arthur Bennett started this, but he isn't the only monster anymore. The recording ended. I pressed my forehead to the table. For 24 years, I had wanted one villain. Grandfather, Marcus, Walter, someone. Claire had left me a worse truth. There were no clean sides. File 2 released before we cracked Marcus's password. It contained evidence implicating Samuel Keene. File 3 was scheduled for the following morning. Panic spread through BRIARWOOD Court. People who had lived beside one another for decades began turning on each other. Margaret wanted to leave. Walter said running would make them look guilty. Samuel wanted the phone destroyed. Noah wanted to smash every drive. I refused. These files contain evidence about Claire. Walter stared at me. They contain evidence that can put us away for life. So? His face hardened. We protected you. You also killed people. They deserved... No. The room went quiet. Walter looked wounded. I continued. Maybe they did. Maybe they deserved prison. Maybe they deserved worse. But you don't get to tell me killing becomes good because you did it for a reason. Margaret whispered, Your grandfather destroyed children. I know. And Marcus tortured you. I know. You're defending them? No. I looked around the room. I am saying there has to be a place where this stops. Samuel laughed bitterly. You sound like Claire. That silenced everyone. What? Samuel looked at me. Your sister said the same thing. You met her? Yes. When? The night she disappeared. Walter stood. Sam. No more. Samuel looked 20 years older. She came here. Not this house. The old rental that stood where the Millers live now. What happened? She had evidence against Arthur's people and against us. Marcus followed her. Then, we argued. Did you kill her? No. Did Marcus? Samuel shook his head. When I last saw Claire, she was alive. Where did she go? With Marcus. My skin turned cold. Why? He convinced her he could hide her. I laughed once. Marcus? She still trusted him a little. No. People trust the person they love longer than they should. That sentence landed too close to home. What happened after? Marcus returned 3 days later alone. And nobody asked? We asked. What did he say? Samuel looked at the floor. He said Claire was safe. I did not sleep. At 3 in the morning, I sat in Marcus's study with Claire's photograph. There were things about my marriage that suddenly looked different. Marcus choosing me. Marcus asking about Claire on our first date. Marcus knowing exactly what frightened me. Had he loved me? Had he married me because I was Claire's sister? Had I been a substitute? A hostage? A way to keep Claire silent? I searched his desk until sunrise. In the bottom drawer, I found an envelope with my maiden name, Evelyn Bennett. Inside were photocopies of medical records. Mine. Dates I did not recognize. 1999, 2000. Before Marcus and I married. One record listed treatment for acute anxiety and memory disturbance. Another listed a prescription. The physician's signature belonged to Samuel Keene. I walked across the street before breakfast and pounded on Samuel's door. He opened it wearing pajamas. I shoved the records against his chest. What did you do to me? He read the first page. His face drained. Evelyn, what did you do? Come inside. No. Neighbors were watching. I did not care. You treated me after Claire disappeared. Yes. For memory disturbance. Yes. Why don't I remember that? Samuel closed his eyes. You were in shock. From what? You wouldn't say. That's a lie. He looked toward Walter's house. I stepped closer. From what? Samuel whispered. You were found walking near the old youth home. The building was closed. Yes. When? 2 days after Claire disappeared. My skin prickled. I was home. No. My mother said I was home. Your mother lied. Why? I don't know. You treated me. Yes. What condition was I in? Samuel hesitated. Your clothes were muddy. You had bruises on both wrists. You kept asking where Claire was. Did I say what happened? You said Marcus took her somewhere safe. The world seemed to move beneath me. I didn't know Marcus then. Samuel stared at me. Yes, Evelyn. You did. Memory is not a recording. People say that after something terrible happens, they mean it kindly. They mean gaps are normal. But once you discover a hole in your own life, kindness stops helping. I went home and stared at photographs from 1999. There was Marcus in the background of a charity event at Briarwood Youth Home. I had seen the photograph before. I had never noticed him. Another photograph showed Claire beside a group of volunteers. Marcus stood at the edge. I remembered nothing. Noah found me on the floor. Mom? I knew him. Dad? Before he said we met. How long? I don't know. He crouched. Maybe he lied. He did lie. No, I mean maybe you didn't know him. I showed him Samuel's medical record. Noah read it twice. Then he looked sick. What did Dad do to you? I don't know. That was worse than remembering. The 4th day after Marcus's body was identified, Reeves arrested Noah. Not for murder. Aggravated assault. Evidence from the living room was enough. I watched officers put handcuffs on my son. Noah looked at me. Don't. I knew what he meant. Do not confess. Do not save me. Let me take it. I had spent his entire childhood letting him watch me endure Marcus because I thought survival was enough. Now my son believed love meant destroying himself for me. I finally understood what I had taught him. Reeves gave me one night. Maybe he should not have. Maybe he already knew what I would do. I went to the police station the next morning carrying Marcus's phone, Claire's tapes, and all 12 drives. Reeves met me in an interview room. You found the safe? Yes. You've been withholding evidence? Yes. You understand you need an attorney? Yes. Do you want one? Later. He sat. I placed the phone on the table. Cancel the releases first. Can you? No. Then why bring it? Because I'm done protecting people. He looked at me carefully. Including Noah? Including Noah. I folded my hands. Noah didn't kill Marcus. Reeves said nothing. He attacked him. I know. He hit him with the fireplace poker. We know. He thought he killed him. Reeves leaned forward, but he didn't. No. The room became very quiet. Who did? I looked at the black mirror on the wall. For years I had imagined telling someone what Marcus did to me. In every fantasy, I was brave. In reality, bravery felt like nausea. I did. At 2:17 that morning, Noah had found Marcus twisting my wrist in the kitchen. Marcus had been angry because I spoke to Margaret without asking him. Noah came downstairs. He told Marcus to let me go. Marcus laughed. Noah pushed him. Marcus hit him. Noah grabbed the fireplace poker. The first strike knocked Marcus down. The second broke his arm. The third opened his scalp. I screamed for Noah to stop. He did. Marcus lay on the floor, blood everywhere, but alive. "Call 911, Marcus whispered. Noah dropped the poker. "Mom, I didn't mean..." "Go outside." "What?" "Go get Walter." "Mom, go!" Noah left. Marcus laughed. "Even then, even broken on the floor. You think this changes anything?" I knelt beside him. "You're going to prison," he whispered. "Noah?" "Yes." He stopped. "Doesn't matter. You hit him first." Marcus smiled. "Who do you think they'll believe?" I knew the answer. Marcus had money, records, friends, and I had spent 20 years telling doctors I fell downstairs, telling neighbors everything was fine, telling police once years earlier that the bruise on my throat came from an accident. Marcus had trained me to erase my own evidence. "You need me," he said. "No. You don't know your bank password." I said nothing. "You don't have a driver's license." Nothing. "You haven't worked since Noah was born." Nothing. "You can't even tell a detective what happened without shaking." He smiled. "You'll come visit me." Something inside me became very still. Then he said Claire's name. "Your sister was stronger than you." I looked at him. "What did you say?" "Claire." "How do you know Claire?" His smile changed. That was the moment. Not the beating. Not 22 years of bruises. Claire. "You knew her." Marcus realized his mistake. "Evelyn. You knew my sister." He tried to sit. I put my hand against his chest. He was injured badly. It did not take much. "I will not tell you exactly how I killed my husband. Not because I am ashamed of the mechanics, because the mechanics are the least important part. What matters is that I had time to stop. I did not. When Noah left the room, his father was alive. When I called him back, he wasn't." Reeves listened without interrupting. When I finished, he asked, "Why let Noah think he did it?" "I didn't. He believed he did. I let him." "Why?" "Because I was a coward." "No." I looked at him. "Don't make me better than I was." Reeves sat back. "I wanted time to understand Claire. I wanted the safe. I wanted Marcus's secrets before police took everything." "And your son?" I told myself I was protecting him. "Were you?" "No." I thought about Noah in handcuffs. I was using his guilt to buy time. That was the ugliest truth. I loved my son. I also used him. Victims do not become incapable of hurting people just because someone hurt them first. Reeves reached for the recorder. "I'm placing you under arrest for the murder of Marcus Hart." "I know. Before we continue, you need counsel." I nodded. Then I pushed Claire's tapes toward him. "Find my sister." The arrest broke Briarwood Court. Once the Dries were in police custody, there was no reason for the neighborhood to keep pretending. Walter confessed to involvement in 2 disappearances. Margaret admitted helping destroy evidence. Samuel provided locations. Other residents hired attorneys. The Briarwood Youth Home investigation reopened. Arthur Bennett's name appeared everywhere. So did names of judges, county officials, doctors, and former employees. My grandfather had been worse than Claire feared. But Walter had been right about something. Arthur had loved me. I had photographs to prove it. Me sitting on his shoulders, me blowing out birthday candles while he clapped, me asleep in his lap. That was one of the hardest things to accept. Monsters do not spend every hour looking like monsters. Sometimes they make pancakes. Sometimes they remember birthdays. Sometimes they love one child while destroying another. Marcus had taught me that too. Noah visited me 3 weeks after my arrest. We sat across from each other behind thick glass. He looked thinner. "You shouldn't have confessed." "Yes, I should. I would have taken the charge." "I know. You could have said you were scared." "I was." "You could have said self-defense." "It wasn't." He looked angry. "After everything he did? That explains what I did." I pressed my palm against the glass. "It doesn't make it something else." Noah stared at my hand. "I was supposed to protect you." "No. I should have done it years ago." "Noah." He looked up. "You don't owe me your life because I gave you mine." His face crumpled. I had not seen him cry since he was 14. I left you with him. You were a kid. I knew. You were a kid. I knew what he did. And you survived it too. He put his palm against mine through the glass. For the first time in years, I did not feel like Marcus was sitting between us. Detective Reeves kept his promise. He investigated Claire. He started with Marcus. Financial records showed cash withdrawals from accounts Evelyn Hart had never known existed. Every October, for 17 years, Marcus withdrew the same amount, $9,000, always cash. Always on or near the anniversary of Claire's disappearance. The withdrawals stopped 3 years before Marcus died. Reeves asked me if the number meant anything. It did not. Then he showed me a storage unit receipt, Unit 19. Rented under a fake name, paid by Marcus. Police opened it. Inside were no bodies, no weapons, just boxes. Women's clothing, books, old newspapers, a portable cassette recorder, a folding chair, and hundreds of photographs of me. Some were taken through windows, some at grocery stores, some in our backyard, some while I slept. The earliest photograph was dated before Marcus claimed we met. In one, I stood outside a bus station beside Claire. Marcus's handwriting on the back said, "She still trusts her." I stared at it until Reeves took it away. Who took this? We don't know. Marcus? Possibly. He was watching us. Yes. Why? We don't know. There was another box labeled CB Claire Bennett. Inside were maps. Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, small towns circled in red. Some dates stretched into the last decade. Reeves searched missing person databases. Nothing. He searched driver's licenses. Nothing. Social Security. Nothing. Claire had vanished completely, or someone had learned how to keep her invisible. Samuel Keene asked to speak with me before his plea hearing. My attorney advised against it. I agreed anyway. Samuel looked old in County Orange. "You found the medical records?" he said. "Yes. I should have told you. 24 years ago would have been nice." He nodded. I was afraid. That word again. I know. What happened to me? Samuel rubbed his wrists. The night Claire disappeared, Walter called me. He said something had gone wrong at the old youth home. What? He wouldn't say. When I arrived, you were sitting outside in the rain. Alone? Yes. Where was Claire? Gone. Marcus? Gone. Walter? Inside. Doing what? Burning documents. I stared at him. You helped? Yes. Why? Some records contained names of victims. We thought destroying them would protect people. You destroyed evidence. Yes. What did I say? Samuel closed his eyes. You kept repeating that Claire had chosen. Chosen what? You wouldn't explain. Did you drug me? I gave you a sedative. How much? Enough to sleep. For days? No. Then why are there weeks I barely remember? I don't know. You were my doctor. I was a frightened man with a medical license doing things I had no right to do. His voice cracked. Marcus came to me later. He had your records. He said if I ever told you about that night, he'd expose everything. So you let me marry him. I didn't know until after. You could have told me then. Yes. You watched him control me. Yes. You prescribed medication when he asked. Samuel lowered his head. Yes. I wanted to hate him cleanly, but nothing in Briarwood was clean. Did Claire choose Marcus? Samuel looked up. No. What did she choose? I think she chose to disappear. Why? To keep the evidence alive. Then where is she? Samuel whispered. If Marcus knew, he never told me. Months passed. File 5 exposed a former judge. File 6 contained statements from youth home survivors. File 7 implicated a county sheriff who had been dead for 12 years. File 8 contained photographs from one of Walter's revenge killings. File 9 was about Marcus himself. It documented 17 years of blackmail. He had included his own crimes. That was Marcus. Even his confession was a weapon. File 10 contained my medical records. File 11 contained Claire's tapes. By then, the story was national. Reporters called me the Briarwood wife. Some said I was a battered woman who finally fought back. Some said I manipulated my son and murdered my husband. Both versions contained truth. Neither felt like me. The public wanted heroes and villains. Briarwood had cured me of that. 8 months after Marcus died, Briarwood Court was nearly empty. Walter and Margaret sold their house before sentencing. Samuel's property sat behind police tape. 2 homes were abandoned. Reporters stopped parking at the entrance. People online called us a murder neighborhood. A documentary company offered Noah money. He refused. I was awaiting trial. My attorney believed history of abuse would matter. Maybe it would. I did not ask for promises. For the first time in my adult life, I knew exactly where I would sleep the next night. A county jail cell. Strangely, certainty felt like freedom. Then Detective Reeves came to see me. He looked worse than usual. He sat across from me and placed a folder on the table. What? File 12. My stomach tightened. It released? Last night. To who? Me. Only you? As far as we know. From Marcus? The same server. I looked at the folder. What was in it? 1 photograph. He slid it toward me. I did not touch it at first. The photograph showed Briarwood Youth Home. The old brick building had been demolished years ago. 12 people stood in front. Walter, Margaret, Samuel, Marcus, several former Briarwood Court residents. The date stamp in the corner was 3 years earlier. That isn't possible. I know. The building was demolished in 2006. I know. I looked closer. Maybe it was another building. Maybe the timestamp was wrong. Then I saw her. Back row. Dark hair. Older. Thinner. A scar above her right eyebrow. Claire. I stopped breathing. No. Reeves said nothing. She would be 50. She'd be 51. The woman looked about that age. I touched the photograph. Where was this taken? We're working on it. Marcus knew she was alive. Maybe. Walter knew. Walter says he has never seen this photograph. He's lying. Maybe. I hated that word. I leaned closer. Claire was not looking at the camera. She was looking to her left, at someone mostly cropped from the photograph. Only part of a shoulder remained, and a hand resting on Claire's arm. A woman's hand. On one finger was a silver ring. My ring. I looked at my own hand. The ring had belonged to my mother. I had worn it since I was 18. There was a small notch in the band where I once caught it on a fence. The photograph showed the same notch. I pushed the folder away. No. Reeves's face was careful. Evelyn, I wasn't there. I didn't say you were. I was here 3 years ago. In my house. Marcus barely let me go to the grocery store. I know. I've never been to that place since I was a child. I know. Then whose hand is that? I don't know. I stood. The guard behind me shifted. Reeves said, "Sit down." I couldn't. Something old and cold had opened inside my chest. Did Marcus make this? We're checking. Is it edited? We haven't found evidence of manipulation. Then the timestamp is wrong. Maybe. Stop saying that. He went quiet. I looked at Claire again. For 24 years, I had wanted proof my sister had not abandoned me. I had wanted her alive so badly that I used to imagine seeing her in grocery stores, parking lots, passing cars. I thought finding her would fix something. Now I looked at that photograph and felt terror. Because Claire's last recording had said both sides were dangerous. Because Marcus had built a safe around her fingerprint. Because someone had photographed her 3 years ago in front of a building that no longer existed. And because a woman wearing my ring had been standing beside her. Reeves pointed at the back of the photograph. There was writing. He turned it over. 1 sentence. I recognized Marcus's handwriting. Evelyn still doesn't remember. The room tilted. What does that mean? Reeves did not answer. I remembered Marcus telling me I was unstable. I remembered years of medication he gave me. Pills he said were for panic. Nights I slept 12 hours and woke with mud on my shoes. Times Noah asked where I had been and I told him nowhere. A scar on my knee I could not explain. A hotel key Marcus once found in my coat. I had assumed he planted it to frighten me. Maybe he had. Maybe he had not. I sat. Detective? Yes? What if Claire didn't disappear from me? He waited. What if someone made me forget where she went? Reeves's expression changed. Not belief, not disbelief. Something worse. Concern. I looked at the photograph again. Claire was smiling faintly. Not at the camera. At the woman beside her. At me. Or someone wearing my ring. Reeves returned 2 weeks later with an answer that only created more questions. The photograph was real. The timestamp was not. It had been scanned 3 years earlier, but the original image was older. How old? We don't know. So Claire may not have been alive 3 years ago. Correct. Relief came so quickly I hated myself for it. Then Reeves placed another item on the table. A motel receipt. Virginia, 2017. Name, Claire Bennett. Anyone can use a name. Yes. Signature? Looks similar to the signature on her college records. Similar isn't proof. No. He placed a second receipt. Ohio, 2020. Claire Bennett. Then a library card application. West Virginia, 2021. No photograph. Same date of birth. I stared. She was alive. Possibly. Why didn't she contact me? We don't know. I laughed bitterly. You should put that on your badge. Reeves almost smiled. Then he slid over one final paper. A handwritten note recovered from Marcus's storage unit. Evelyn cannot know until she remembers the room. What room? I asked. Reeves looked at me. That is what I hoped you could tell me. That night, I dreamed of concrete walls. Not jail. Older, painted pale green, a fluorescent light buzzed overhead. Claire sat in a metal chair. Marcus stood near a door. Walter was shouting. I was holding a cassette tape. Claire looked at me. You have to choose. Choose what? Who gets the truth? Then I woke. My heart hammered. The dream felt different from memory. But I knew enough now not to trust that distinction. I asked the jail nurse for paper. I wrote every detail. Green walls, metal chair, fluorescent light, cassette, Walter, Marcus, Claire. The next morning, Reeves looked at the page and went still. What? Briarwood Youth Home had an interview room. So? The walls were green. I felt the air leave my lungs. You've seen photographs? Yes. Was there a metal chair? Yes. I closed my eyes. What happened in that room? We don't know. I did. Or part of me did. Something had happened there the night Claire disappeared. Something Marcus spent 22 years making sure I never remembered. My trial was delayed. New evidence changed everything. My attorney wanted to argue coercive control, trauma, diminished capacity. I told her not to use Claire as an excuse for Marcus's murder. But it matters. Yes. You were manipulated for decades. Yes, that matters. It explains me. I looked at her. It doesn't erase me. She stared for a moment. You're very determined to be punished. No. What are you determined to do? Stop letting other people tell me which parts of the truth count. That was Briarwood's disease. Arthur told himself protecting the institution mattered more than children. Walter told himself revenge mattered more than law. Samuel told himself silence protected victims. Marcus told himself information gave him the right to own people. And I told myself surviving Marcus excused every lie I told afterward. Different stories, same disease. Noah moved to Pittsburgh. He found work repairing elevators. He called every Sunday. He never asked when I would come home. We both knew home no longer meant the house on Briarwood Court. One Sunday he said, Detective Reeves came by. Why? He asked about when I was 16. What about it? He asked if you ever disappeared overnight. My hand tightened around the phone. What did you tell him? The truth. What truth? Noah was silent. Mom, there were nights Dad said you were sick. I was. He wouldn't let me see you. I stopped breathing. How many? I don't know. A few. Did you see me afterward? Yes. Was I hurt? Sometimes you were just tired. Sometimes. One time you had dirt under your fingernails. The room around me seemed to shrink. When? 3 years ago. 3 years. The scan date on the photograph. Noah. What? Did I say anything? You asked me if Claire had called. My eyes filled. What did you say? I told you Claire was missing. And? You started crying. I pressed the phone against my forehead. I don't remember. I know. How? Because Dad told me not to mention it again. Reeves found the place in West Virginia, not Claire. A house. Small, abandoned. Rented under a false name connected to one of Marcus's shell companies. Inside, police found a bedroom, a kitchen, stacks of newspapers, medication bottles with labels removed, and photographs, hundreds. Some of Claire, some of me, some of Marcus, some of Briarwood Court. The newest photographs were 4 years old. One showed me sitting at the kitchen table in that house. I was wearing my silver ring. I looked directly at the camera. I was not restrained. I was smiling. Beside me sat Claire, older, alive. I dropped the photograph. No! Reeves did not move. I wasn't there. The image has been authenticated. No. Evelyn. I would remember. He said nothing. That silence was unbearable. I would remember my sister. I believe you believe that. I laughed. It sounded almost like Marcus. You think I'm crazy? No. Then explain it. I can't. Was Marcus there? One photograph shows him outside. Did he take me? We don't know. Did Claire? We don't know. I hit the table. What do you know? Reeves waited until I stopped shaking. We know you were there. The memory came back in pieces. Not because of hypnosis. Not because of a dramatic revelation. Because Reeves showed me a photograph of a yellow kettle in the West Virginia kitchen. I knew the whistle it made. That sound opened something. Marcus driving at night, me in the passenger seat, no restraints, no fear. Where are we going? To see someone. Who? You already know. Then the house. Claire opening the door. Older. Alive. I hit her. That was the first thing I did. I slapped my missing sister across the face. She did not defend herself. You left me. I know. You left me with him. Claire looked at Marcus. No. I turned. Marcus stood in the doorway. He told me you were dead. I know. You let him marry me. Claire began crying. I thought it would keep you safe. I laughed. Even in the memory, I could hear how broken it sounded. Safe? Claire said Marcus had promised to protect me if she disappeared. He had information on Walter's group, information on Arthur's network. Claire believed Marcus could keep both sides away from me. She did not understand what Marcus wanted until too late. Control? Leverage? A family built around a secret only he understood. Why didn't you come back? Because Marcus said he'd expose Briarwood and put you in the middle. I was already in the middle. I know. You knew he hurt me? Claire could not answer. That was answer enough. I remembered standing, remembered wanting to leave. Then Marcus handed me pills. For the drive. I knocked them away. He smiled. Claire shouted at him. Walter entered from another room. Walter, older than in 1999. He knew Claire was alive. The photograph had not lied. Walter had. I remembered screaming at all of them. You don't get to protect me anymore. Then the memory stopped. Reeves arrested Walter again on additional charges. Walter requested to speak with me. This time, I almost refused. Then I remembered his garage. His eyes when I asked if he killed Claire. No, he had said. Technically true. Briarwood taught everyone to hide behind technically true. Walter sat behind glass. You knew. Yes. For how long? Since the beginning. Claire was alive. Yes. You watched me grieve her. Yes. You watched me marry Marcus. I didn't know what Marcus would become. But when you did? Walter looked away. He threatened Claire. He threatened everyone. Why did she stay hidden? Because some of Arthur's people were still alive. Because some of us wanted her evidence destroyed. Because Marcus convinced her disappearing was the only way to keep you out. You all made decisions for me. Yes. Then 3 years ago you took me to her. Marcus did. You were there. Yes. What happened after the argument? Walter closed his eyes. Marcus drugged you. Did Claire stop him? She tried. Did you? No. Why? Because Marcus said if you remembered you'd go to police. I stared at him. And you were afraid? Yes. I laughed. Walter flinched. Everyone was always afraid. I know. What happened to Claire? His face changed. I don't know. You expect me to believe that? After that night, she left the West Virginia house. With who? No one. Where? She didn't tell us. Is she alive? Walter whispered. I hope so. For the first time, I believed him. Reeves searched for Claire for another 6 months. No confirmed sightings, no bank account, no phone, no address. The trail ended at the West Virginia house. My case moved forward. I accepted a plea agreement. The prosecutor acknowledged decades of documented abuse and Marcus's threats. I acknowledged murder. There was no clean ending. There shouldn't have been. Noah visited before sentencing. You'll be gone a long time. Yes. I'm angry at you. I know. Not for Dad. I know. For letting me think I killed him. I know. He looked at me. I don't know if I can forgive that. You don't have to. His eyes filled. Like what? Things that sound healthy. I laughed. He did too. It was the first time we had laughed together in years. Then he said, I still love you. I love you too. That did not fix anything. But love is not supposed to be a verdict. The night before sentencing, I dreamed of the green room again. This time, the memory continued. 1999, Claire crying, young Marcus by the door, Walter shouting. I held the cassette. Claire said, you have to choose. Choose what? Who gets the truth? I looked at the tape. It contained names. Arthur's accomplices, victims, Walter's group, everything. If police get this, everyone goes down. Yes. Even families? Yes. Even you? Yes. Even me? Claire looked at me. If you help hide it. Marcus said, give it to me. Walter said, destroy it. Claire said, choose. I remembered what I did. I gave the tape to Marcus. Not because I trusted him. Because I was afraid. That was how he got his first piece of leverage. Me. I had not merely been standing outside the conspiracy, I had helped create the man who later controlled it. The memory hurt, but it also made sense. Marcus's note. Evelyn still doesn't remember. He had spent years reminding himself that his safest secret was not what he had done. It was what I had done. I gave him the tape. I gave him power. Then he made sure I forgot. At sentencing, I did not tell the judge I was innocent. I told her Marcus abused me. I told her I feared him. I told her Noah acted to protect me. And I told her I chose to kill Marcus after the immediate danger had passed. The judge listened, my attorney cried, Noah stared at the floor. When it was over, I received a sentence shorter than prosecutors first wanted, and longer than some strangers online thought I deserved. People argued about it for weeks. I stopped reading. Prison was loud, routine, unforgiving, but no one pretended it was love. That made it easier than my marriage in ways I could never explain publicly. A year after sentencing, Detective Reeves visited. He had retired. I almost did not recognize him without his gray coat. You found her? It was not a question. He sat. No. My hope died quickly. Then why are you here? Because something came for you. He placed an envelope on the table. No return address. Postmarked Oregon. Inside was a photograph. 2 girls, Claire and me, children, sitting on our grandfather's porch. I knew the picture. The original had disappeared from our mother's house after Claire vanished. On the back, in Claire's handwriting, you were never supposed to remember all of it. My hand shook. Below that, but you deserve to remember enough. There was a phone number. Reeves looked at me. We traced it. And? Prepaid. Activated yesterday. No location now. I stared at the number. Did you call? No. Why? It was addressed to you. For 24 years, I had wanted Claire to call. For 24 years, I imagined what I would say. Where are you? Why did you leave? Did Marcus hurt you? Did Walter help you? Why didn't you save me? Now I had a number. I did not touch the phone Reeves placed on the table. What if she answers? That is usually the idea. What if she doesn't? Then you know you tried. I laughed softly. You still believe trying makes things better? Sometimes. I dialed. 1 ring. 2. 3. A click. No voice. Claire? Silence. My throat closed. Claire, it's Evelyn. Breathing. Someone was there. I remember the green room. The breathing stopped. I remember giving Marcus the tape. Still nothing. I remember West Virginia. A woman began to cry. My eyes filled. Claire? Then her voice. Older. Rougher. But hers. Evie. No one had called me that since I was 20. I covered my mouth. Where are you? I can't tell you. Why? Because it isn't over. Marcus is dead. I know. Arthur is dead. I know. Walter confessed. I know. Then what isn't over? Claire was silent for so long I thought the call had dropped. Then, Marcus wasn't the one who started watching us. Cold moved through me. What? Grandfather had partners. We know. No. Claire's voice lowered. You know the ones Marcus found. What does that mean? He didn't find all of them. Reeves leaned closer. I put the call on speaker. Claire continued. Arthur kept a second set of records. People who funded Briarwood. People who chose which kids went there. People who made sure complaints disappeared. Who? I don't have all the names. Then come back. I can't. Why? Because one of them knows you're remembering. I looked at Reeves. How? Claire whispered. Because file 12 wasn't Marcus's. The line went dead. Reeves stared at the phone. What did she mean? I knew, or I thought I did. Marcus had created 11 files, 11 pieces of leverage. File 12 had arrived months later, after his server should have been under police control. The photograph, the ring. Evelyn still doesn't remember. We had assumed Marcus scheduled it. What if he hadn't? What if someone used his system after he died? I asked. Reeves's face changed. Someone with access. Claire? Maybe. Or someone she was afraid of. Reeves stood. I need to make calls. I grabbed his sleeve. Daniel. It was the first time I used his first name. He stopped. Don't tell them everything. Who? Anyone. He stared at me. A year earlier, he might have called that paranoia. Now he nodded. 3 days later, Reeves disappeared. His wife reported him missing. His car was found at a rest stop outside Harrisburg. Wallet inside, phone inside. No blood, no sign of struggle. On the passenger seat was a photograph. BRIARWOOD COURT. All 12 houses. Taken from the entrance to the street. On the back, one story left. Police questioned me. I told them about Claire's call. They searched. Nothing. No Claire. No Reeves. No explanation. Noah begged me to stop asking questions. You're in prison, Mom. What can you even do? Listen. To what? People talk when they think you can't reach them? He hated that answer. So did I. But it was true. Letters began arriving. Former Briarwood residents. Survivors. People who had seen the news. Most were useless. Some were heartbreaking. One contained a photocopy of a funding ledger from 1994. Briarwood youth home donors. Businesses. Churches. Private foundations. One name had been circled. Hart Family Trust. Marcus's family. I read it 3 times. Marcus had not stumbled into Claire's investigation. His family had been part of Briarwood before either of us knew him. That was why he was there in old photographs. Why he knew Arthur. Why he knew where records were hidden. Why Claire trusted him at first. Marcus was not an outsider who discovered a conspiracy. He had inherited one. The final memory returned without warning. I was folding prison laundry. A sheet snapped in the air. For 1 second it sounded like the canvas curtain in the green interview room. And I remembered. Claire saying, Marcus's father paid grandfather. Young Marcus shouting, My father didn't know! Walter laughing. All of them knew. I held the tape. Marcus looked at me. Give it to me, Evelyn. Claire said, Don't. Walter said, Destroy it. I asked, What happens if I give it to police? Claire answered, People go to prison. Marcus, including Walter. Walter, including your mother. I turned to Claire. Mom? Claire's face told me. Our mother had altered records for Arthur, signed forms, moved money, protected him. That was the truth Claire had been afraid to tell me. Our whole family was inside Briarwood. I looked at the cassette, then at Marcus. I gave it to him. Because I could not bear another person I loved becoming a monster. The irony would have been funny if it had not destroyed my life. Marcus took the tape and smiled. That was the moment he learned exactly how to control me. Not with violence, with family. I never found Detective Reeves, not while I was incarcerated. Claire never called again. Noah moved twice and stopped publishing his address. BRIARWOOD COURT was eventually bought by a developer. Most of the houses were demolished. Our house went last. Noah sent me a photograph. The excavator stood where our living room had been, where Marcus bled, where Noah thought he became a murderer, where I actually became one. I expected to feel something. I did not. Then Noah sent a second photograph. Workers had opened the wall behind Marcus's study. Inside was a narrow cavity, too small for a person, large enough for documents. Empty except for one object. A cassette tape. No label. Police took it. 2 weeks later, an attorney visited me with a transcript. The recording was Marcus. Older than the tapes with Claire. You could hear him breathing. Then he said, "If Evelyn ever hears this, it means I lost." A pause. "I told her I married her because I loved her." Another pause. That was true. I almost stopped reading. Love was never the problem. Love is easy. Ownership is harder. My hands tightened. Claire understood the Hart family before Evelyn did. She thought she could expose us. She thought Evelyn could be kept outside it. Marcus laughed softly. "No one stays outside Briarwood." Then a second voice appeared. A woman, not Claire, not me, my mother. She had been dead for 11 years. "Did you give Evelyn the medication?" Marcus answered, "Yes." "For how long?" "As long as necessary." "She cannot remember the green room." "She won't." "And Claire?" "I'll handle Claire." My mother's voice, "Do not kill her." Marcus, "Why?" "Because Arthur left something with her." "What?" A pause. "The original list." Marcus stopped laughing. "What list?" My mother said, "The names of everyone who built Briarwood." The tape ended. That was when I understood why Claire stayed hidden. Not because of Walter, not because of Marcus, not even because of me. She had the original list. The people behind the institution, the people Marcus's family funded, the people Arthur protected. Some were probably dead, some were not. And someone had spent decades making sure that list never surfaced. Maybe that someone took Reeves. Maybe Claire was running from them. Maybe she had become one of them. I did not know. There was one thing I finally understood. BRIARWOOD Court had never been the conspiracy. It was the graveyard built on top of one. 2 years after Marcus died, I received one final letter. No return address, no fingerprints police could use. Inside was a single sheet of paper. 12 names. 11 were crossed out. The 12th was mine. Not Evelyn Hart. Evelyn Bennett. Beneath it, "You chose once, choose again." No signature. I showed it to the warden, then my attorney, then federal investigators. Everyone asked what it meant. I told them the truth. I don't know. That night, I lay in my bunk listening to the prison settle around me. Metal doors, footsteps, distant voices. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the lights in my unit flickered. Once, twice, then went dark for 7 seconds. When they came back, something had been pushed beneath my cell door. A photograph. Claire, older than in the West Virginia pictures, standing beside a road somewhere I did not recognize. Alive. She held a newspaper. Yesterday's date. On the back, 3 words. "Don't trust Reeves." I stared until my eyes hurt. Detective Daniel Reeves had been missing for more than a year. I turned the photograph over again. At the bottom, almost hidden beneath Claire's hand, stood a man in a gray coat. His face was turned away, but I knew that coat. I knew the shape of his shoulders. Reeves, alive, standing beside my sister. I sat on the floor. For 24 years, I had wanted to know what happened to Claire Bennett. For 2 years, I had wanted to know what happened to Daniel Reeves. Now I had proof that both might be alive, together. And I finally understood the lesson Briarwood had been trying to teach me since I was 20 years old. The most dangerous lie is not the one someone tells you. It is the one that explains everything so perfectly that you stop looking for another answer. Marcus was dead, my grandfather was dead, the neighborhood was gone. But the story was not. Someone was still choosing what I was allowed to know. Someone was still deciding which memories belonged to me. And somewhere beyond the prison walls, my sister was waiting for me to choose again. I looked at the photograph until morning. Then I tore it in half. Not because I was finished looking for Claire. Because this time, I would not let a photograph tell me where to look. End.